Alright guys, seeing that suit sleeve construction and fixing is one of the major aspects of suit making, that's why we have to concentrate on this lesson. So this is the lining. I already joined the lining by 1/2 inch. The big and the small pieces, right side to right side, and open pressed it. We have these small pieces folded with the allowance we kept during the cutting, 2 inches. And while we were folding this, I think you saw it. If you haven't watched the video, well, go and watch it. So this here is what we are going to be doing. I did this one already, so to lessen the time, this is how it was done. Watch carefully. We folded the same 2 inches that we kept for the allowance, like the small pieces, folded it back so that we have up to 1/2 inch in this area here for the stitches, joining the small pieces and the big pieces. While here, we are going to hold it up like this and make sure these two angles here meet, and we'll flip it to this side to use iron to press it, just like seen. And we're going to notch it where that under pieces meet the upper one. This thing, give it a small cut there, because from here, the midpoint here, we are going to be folding it, following that line to that mark or that notch, just like so. And we'll stitch it. Let's go to the machine. So let me repeat it again so you understand better. To be able to increase your sleeve when your clients complain, since you aren't sure of the exact measurement, you leave it this way. Fold it with your iron, press it very well, and turn it over to the right side. This is how it is. Very cool. So, but I'm sure of the sleeves. I do cut my own because I take accurate measurements. So I'll cut it out and use my iron to open press it. Yeah. Make sure you give it a nice press after making it to be pointed. So don't mind me, make sure you cover your surface, your right side surface, with the fabric while ironing to avoid all those shining parts. Now take note of this. At the process of cutting or ironing, you see that while placing your small and big pieces together, you have this V here. Watch. Like, have you seen that V there? So you have to straighten it and make sure these two places aligns. Like there's a straight part here, these two places here. So now if you keep it like that, you cut out this SS here, like so, and come to this side here and cut out that SS. But make sure those angles are joining together. I'll repeat the same process on the other sleeve too, so that we'll have that straight curve, like that straight line. This is what I mean. So if you place these things together, this sleeve together, there is that V, and that's not how it's supposed to be. So it's supposed to be a straight line. Make sure those two angles meet very well, but make sure the sleeve at the extreme there is straight, and trim out those points. So this happens most times during the process of gumming. The fabric may shrink or so. So that's why I'm giving you that tip, so that you can solve it. Sometimes it doesn't happen depending on the fabric. So I'll carefully hold these things together, these pieces. Make sure they are aligned. I'll sew it to where that folded line is. Make sure you don't pass that folded line. So, and these notches should all align. Now sew it by 1/2 inch all the way up. keep it straight just like so, and I will flip that one out, and I will fill from inside at least 1/4 to like the side. I will top stitch it. Don't double the stitches because we are going to loosen that. This is what I mean. That will help us hold that while we continue the process. So hold it this way. Make sure the under pieces is not attached, and I'll sew 1/2 inches away from the first seam angle. I'm guiding the down pieces, are you seeing, not to enter inside. So 3/4 to those points, I will stop, like 3/4 to the final point, and this is what we have you seen? So now I'm going to flip this like this. Let me notch it. Now sew by 1/4 of an inch. Notch and turn it to the right side. This is what we have. Now we have this closed. We want to hold this other seam together to this place. So I will sew it away from that line that seam we just made now. Flip it again and so flip your seam like this. Make sure none of the inner pieces is touching it, like this. This is what I mean. This is what we will have. Have you seen? So now I'll be cutting between the middle of that first stitch and this last one, like this. So after cutting it, I'll turn it to this side and cut it as well. Now here I'll put those 2 points together like this. Put them down and hold it. Hold it like so. Make sure it doesn't shift. And I'll stitch it with 1/4 of an inch. It's a kind of having that angle stuff, and I want it to be straight. I'll trim it like that to make it straight. And I will notch this side here. So while open pressing it, everything, so to be like that. So this is what we have. And now we'll be attaching the lining. Take note that the notch I made was like 1/2 of an inch inside, like this. Have you seen? So that's what will help us to join the lining. So I will do the same thing to the other side of the sleeve. Everything will be the same. Now make sure your lining again is straight at that point. It's not curved. Like your lining, when you join the 2 pieces, it should be straight at that wrist point. So watch. After that is done, let's impute our lining like this. The lining should be straight again at that point. Make sure the lining is placed wrong side to wrong side, and the small pieces should face the small pieces, and that lining stitches to follow that stitches there, like so. You see, follow this stitch and hold it from this point. You can notch it so that when you turn it, you don't miss it out. Then sew half inches all the way to the other side. And when we are done, this is what we are going to have. You see, and we'll place it like this and fold half inches like this and press it. Half inches. So we'll be opening the seam now. We are going to the cutting table to trim out the lining. So make sure your seams of both the lining and the bodies align, the sleeve, and 1/4 away from the normal sleeve. Should be cut all through. Replace the notch and cut out this excess. So instead of the lining to be like a bit smaller, it should be like 1/4 of an inch bigger than the sleeve. Yeah. So repeat the same process on the other sleeve. After that is done, the sleeve will be measured, like the wrist angle point. We are using 11 inches. So whatever we have here, we divide it by 2 for the sewing allowance. So I think we'll have a 3/4 of an inch for the sewing allowance. And make sure the folded point matches that folded line. So all through to this point here, the bicep, impute your client's measurement and sew it all through like so. And now to the lining part, make sure that half inches that is folded is still maintained this way. And the same thing done to this side. Like you've seen, I'm making sure my lining is bigger than the real sleeve, either by 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 inches. You understand? Yes, that's when the sleeve will relax. This is what we have. Now we open press it very well all through to the lining. After that is completed, I will pull out the sleeve from the wrong side to the right side like this. Make sure the lining aligns, and I'll press it from the seam outside. Following this, I will press it very well. And I'll do the same thing to the other seam, the other sleeve, the same process. To the machine now, I'll put the lining outside. So we need to add it a hemming gum. So from this point here, I'll add an hemming gum all through to the other side again. Where that seam is, we'll add hemming gum to the other side the seam stopped. Make sure you flip your pieces well so that it doesn't hold any of the lining. And when I'm done, this folded point here of the sleeve, we'll put it this way. Make sure the seams are opened and you hold it like that so that none of those places shift. I'll be using my machine to tack it. Some uses hand needle like this, you understand, so that the lining doesn't move. This is what we have. Lining doesn't move, and the hemming gum will hold those things in place again. I'll repeat the same process in the other sleeve as well. And now I'll be measuring the armhole of the suit bodies. I'll start from this point here, this seam here. I'll measure all the way round to that same point again. So what we have here is 21 inches, like exactly where that seam is. So while preparing the sleeve, you either keep it exactly 21 or 21 1/4. That would be nice. Let's see what we have on the sleeve armhole. From this seam here, I'll measure all the way around to that same spot. So we have 24 inches. Are you saying 24 inches? Meaning we have 3 inches extra that is above the body's armhole. Let's start setting this sleeve so we can fix it. Pull in the lining just like I have done and come here to this side. Increase the stitches to 3.5. Should not be too loose to 4 inches. At least 3.5. You are using a manual machine, increase it from that point again. And from the midpoint here, I'll be stitching it by 1/4 of an inch all the way around. Make sure you don't double stitch it. And 1.5 inches or 1 inch close to the first place you started, and the stitch is there. I didn't double stitch it. So this is what we have. And those threads should be long. I'm doing the same thing to this other sleeve. And now I'm holding the one of the upper part. Now I'll drag it like that. Make sure you watch carefully. So from this side, that is the front side, and the back side like this, I will pull the thread also. So I will arrange it and make sure everywhere it's okay like so. And following this point like this, here to here, the folding here should not reach this point here. And I will confirm if it is like that 21 inches or 21 1/4. If it is not, I will readjust it. So we have 22 inches. It means we still have 1 inches. This needs time and patience to really have a good setting. This is the notch. Make sure close to the notch, that's where those gathers should be focused on. And 2 inches to 3 inches away from the notch should be where the gather should stop. So we have 21 1/4. It means that is it. So do the same thing to these other pieces and we will have these. So when we are done, we'll start attaching it. So I'll take it to the manicure, look at what we have to see how set the sleeve is. So whether you have a manicure or not, I will teach you how you can fix it to really align. So let's go. So this is my left sleeve. Make sure you follow that point like you fix your long sleeves. Look at, let that point there follow, like face the back bodies. And the notch, that middle notch of the sleeve should be 1/4 of an inch shifted to the back bodies. 1/4 of an inch. So in some cases, depending on the suit, we'll keep the notch exactly where that line is, that shoulder line. So here you need carefulness so that those gathers doesn't like accumulate in one area. And those gathers should not shift again to where you are sewing to. So stitch it to a point, like to that seam, that front seam, and stop there without stitching it. You know, we are still using that loose tension like that. Look at what we have. We have not adjusted the stitches to be tight. So if there's any mistake, we can easily lose it. So I flip it from the wrong side to complete the sleeve. Remember, I'm not sewing 1/2 inches like that. I'm sewing 1/4 and 1/8 of an inch, so that while we are completing the sleeve with the tight stitches, we'll sew it with or sew by 1/2 of an inch, so to say. So look at what we have here. The sleeves reached exactly how it's supposed to. And this is what we have here. We'll repeat the same process on the other side of the sleeve exactly the way I did. And here will be the result without the shoulder part or the wadding. We haven't sewn the lining yet. This is how it looks like. So you should have this finish. Everything. So let's go back to finish it up. Here is our wadding. We'll fold it using the side that is stretchy. So measure 4 inches for the width. And for the length of the wadding, your armhole minus, have you seen, 5 inches. So it means we have 16. So if you have your armhole 20 minus the 5 inches, you have 15. And so 4 inches and that one. So we are folding it by 2 like that. And we'll flip it to this side. Our shoulder part, I reduced it. So from the big one to 5 inches. The wadding is going to be on the sleeve side where that gathers is. Folded it into 2 like this. Put it at the middle. So I'll fold it again, but this time see how it is. Please watch carefully. I'm using my left hand to guide this thing while I return the stitches to the normal. Make sure those gathers under doesn't fold to form a bad work under it. Now I'm putting the shoulder part on this side of the shoulder. Make sure it is folded into 2 like seen, and the middle should be on the shoulder seam. So where that gathers is much, you have to really make sure it's really set. Like this. Have you seen? I'm using my fingers to adjust it. And after passing that wadding, I'll complete the stitches to meet where we started. You cut out the wording like so, following this method. So the other method of wording cutting in this suit sleeve is still okay. Maybe in one of our videos, I will show you how that one is cut and how you can fix it as well. This is what we have. See how it is? Yeah. I'll do the same thing to the other sleeve. I've added the wording and the shoulder part to the other sleeve, and this is it. And now we are going to be sealing the inner lining. Make sure you impute your hand to see if your fingers or your hand went through, because the lining can be folded or twisted inside. So place it like this, right side facing this, like this, and pull it this way. You see? So while sewing, make sure the pieces of the sleeve is pleated again to be able to match with the armhole. You see, pleated like 2 or 3 times. Small, pleated by maybe 1/4 of an inch to 2 or 3, 4 times. Since we didn't do gathers like the sleeve. After I sew to a point there, I will stop. And this is what we have. So I'll use the other sleeve like lining armhole that is open to repeat it again. This time the sleeve lining is above, so I will pleat it from up. I'll sew to 2.5 inches and I will stop to have that opening. This is what I mean, where my 2 fingers can penetrate. And I will do the same thing to this other sleeve. I will still leave an opening of 2.5 inches again in this side of the sleeve. lining. So these are the openings I've kept. Let's pull out the lining to the other side and see how it is. We're seeing everything is closed, leaving just those 2.5 inches space. From the 2.5 inches, I will impute my finger in here like this to hold the shoulder seam of the lining and the shoulder seam of this dress. Are you seeing? I'll hold them together like this. Pull them gently. Are you seeing? Make sure they are aligned. And I will stitch. Are you seeing? I will tack it there like that. That is what will hold the lining from like moving from the bodies of the dress. I'll do that same thing to the other side of the sleeve. And this is what we will have. So now I want to close this other seam. Have you seen? So I use my finger to remove it from the other side. Now close that. So after closing it, we'll pull it like this. We have only one seam that is left, this one. So some people use hand needle to close that one. But I'm pulling this. Are you seeing? So I will lose like 2 inches from the sleeve seam, that inner sleeve lining seam. I will lose 2 inches from there. Then I will impute my fingers there to pull out that armhole opening there like this. And I will close it. So you can decide to keep that space, that opening on the sleeve lining while you are sewing. You just keep that 2 inches. Yeah. But I do like it when I lose it when it comes to that point. Here it needs carefulness so that I don't hold another fabric or another lining with it. And we'll pull it out, return it, and we'll seal that with the top stitch. Like it should be very tiny. What you are sewing should be very tiny. Make sure your stitches are really close. Like look at what I have here. And I will turn it to the right side. We are done with anything containing or pertaining to sealing these suits. Yeah, are you seeing? So I'll go to the ironing table and give it a nice press. You see, start from the sleeve like so and give it a nice press. So far as this lesson is concerned, from the cutting or the measurements to this point, if you have learned something, make sure as you watch, drop a like, give it a thumbs up, drop an emoji to show how you feel concerning these lessons, this series of suit lessons. And in case of any question, don't forget to drop the questions at the appropriate quarter. Use the group to drop your questions and answers will be given accordingly. Make sure you give it a nice press. Nice press. Use fabrics. Put fabrics on top of your suit to avoid shining, just like I have said. You know, in this type of ironing, we are sealing it with the hemming gum we used so that everything will lie very well. So you take your time so that some places will not puff. Sew it from the, iron it from the inside. Very well like so. You know all the areas we used the hemming gum. Alright, let me leave you here as I see you in our next lesson. Look at the finish. Although the manicure is bigger than the size we used, this is how it looks like. Stay tuned and don't fail to check my YouTube channel for other fashion related lessons.